Terrific, and I'm live. Hi, thanks very much for joining me for another post. Um, this one talks about why we need to hear new and different voices on these airwaves. And for me, it's going to be a bit of the closest I'll probably ever get to ranting, whatever the case. This is going out on my platform on Rumble, Telegram, YouTube, and of course, right here on Instagram as well. And if you could like the post, it'll help to bring a different voice to our listeners everywhere in the world. And I think it's one of the things we need to do the most now. Hear a variety of different voices. I hear my phone is pinging. So straight away, I'm going to mute that because you know it's going to start ringing just when you get hot. So thanks very much for joining me. The post will be about stereotypes, shills, lost perspectives, and a shout out for more African voices. Start with the stereotypes. It took me ages to realize, um, as a person of African origin in Europe, that the stereotype of the African public speaker doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the sense that nowhere in our culture in Western Europe is there a position for a person of African origin to speak on public, social, economic, political, and other affairs except as a victim. The stereotype of victim very much exists, but the stereotype of the thought provoker, the stereotype of the contributor to the social discourse doesn't exist. And so many people aren't used to listening to a guy like me even have the idea that he could contribute something to the conversation in any other than a capacity of a victim. As a result, we come to the second point. There are many, many shills who have been provided by the mainstream media, partly to give itself the cosmetic look of being uh, multifaceted, multi-ethnic, diverse in its outlook. But basically, they are allowed to say very few things unless they're cast as the full-on crazy, um, angry, mad, and usually bad person of African origin. But as a real mainstream contributor, contributing his own sort, there are very few Black people you will find doing that in Western media. They all become the mouthpieces of what the editors ideate people of African origin to be and imagine that they would like to hear us say. We are never talking about our truth, never in mainstream media. I've got many years' experience of that. The third point is that owing to the matter that our cultural stereotypes for people of African origin are so narrowcast, owing to the fact that we replace the voices of people of African origin by what unkindly, and this is where I'm ranting, by the voices of shills who are basically coming along kind of as glove puppets, pandering to the mainstream agenda so that nobody gets any shocks about what people of African origin are about, so that everyone can continue in their slumber and continue to behave in the same way. What it means is that a huge perspective is lost. Now, here it was Albert Einstein who said, a definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result every time. somebody else said it was Ben Franklin or Mark Twain who said that, but I think there's a consensus that we can attribute that to Einstein, a fairly thoughtful, fairly intelligent, fairly clever man. I think we will all agree. So if we continue to basically trot out the narrative that Western culture would like to see, how on earth can we expect to get different results from our social policies, our political policies, our economic policies, our international affairs policies? How on earth can we expect to see anything different to what we've been having for centuries, effectively? So when you only have a monocultural perspective, you lose the perspectives that other people from different backgrounds can bring. If life is like a cut gem with many, many different facets, life becomes what it is, a beautiful, diverse, magnificent, iridescent jewel of a piece of existence. When the light hits the gem, it's refracted through its multiple surfaces, and that is when the beauty of the cut gem really comes out. But if there is only one plane through this gem, all you see is one angle, one perspective on reality. And that, my friends, is the problem we have today. And it manifests as ridiculous censorship, cancel culture, muting of voices that I call them regressives. Some people call them elites. I don't think that people who behave so regressively could possibly be elite. I think they're rather better called regressives. Um, uh, that is what happens when the regressives clamp down on the voices that we have, so that we have one monoculture being trumpeted at the whole of humankind. And so at the end of this post, what I'm going to say is that it's high time. We've seen what Western culture does. It causes imperialism. It causes regime change in people who want to run their own affairs. It causes massive, wars on a scale which previously nobody could imagine, although we've been slowly ramping up to that. First World War, Second World War, genocides in between, the slave trade, the Jewish Holocaust, many others as well. Do you know, we need to step outside of this groove and hear other perspectives. And so, if you're a person of European culture, I want you to reserve space and create a new stereotype for people of African and other origins as social commentators. If you're a person of African origin, I want you to man up, stand up, and speak up, because, the world needs new perspectives, especially the new world that we are all awakening to and all growing into. And that, my friends, is my message for tonight. Thank you very much for listening. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this post. Have a great night.